Oh, welcome back. Economist and New York Times opinion columnist Paul Krugman admitting he was wrong about inflation in a new op-ed. Now he says he brushed off fears about President Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill, and he was wrong. Krugman writes, quote, some warned that the package would be dangerously inflationary. Others were fairly relaxed. I was team relaxed as it turned out. Of course, that was a very bad call. Joining me right now is South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace. She's a member of the Oversight and Transportation and Infrastructure Committees. Congresswoman, thanks very much for being here this morning. That's not the only thing Paul Krugman was wrong about. In 2016, when Donald Trump was elected, he said that the economy would plummet and it would never come back. In fact, we went on to have great growth, and the income disparity gap actually got narrower. And the highest earners were lagging the lowest earners in terms of wage gains, Congresswoman. So how do you see the economy right now?
Well, the economy is clearly in the tank. When I filled up my tank of gas last week, it cost me a pair of basketball shoes. You saw Joe Biden and his administration this week celebrate the highest gas prices in American history. It's great that they're dropping right now. They drop at a really slow rate, but they're still significantly higher today than they were a year ago today. It's like celebrating a touchdown when you're still 50 yards behind. But under the Trump administration, we had some of the best unemployment rates for every American, regardless of the color of your skin. Women had great employment opportunities. We had lower taxes with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. We had criminal justice reform and prison reform. There were great opportunities for every single hardworking American. And today, you're seeing companies, large and small, struggle to get employees in the door. And we're having huge problems with regard to supply chain and logistics and inflation at 9.1%.
Well, the White House seems to be celebrating this drop-off in the price of gasoline. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre took to Twitter to brag about falling gasoline prices. Watch this.
Hey, everybody. So gas prices have been declining across the country. In the past more than 30 days, we have seen gas prices go down by more than 50 cents per gallon. So let's get into some graphs. This is so exciting, guys. I'm in the graph.
Yeah, Jean-Pierre also blasted oil refineries, Congresswoman. She's conveniently left out that gasoline prices are over $2 higher than they were when Biden took office. We're still talking about a 40% increase year over year.
Right, and it's $1 higher now than it was a year ago. It's very expensive to fill up your tank, and obviously they're celebrating the lowering of prices over the last couple of weeks because Biden's approval ratings are, what, high 20s or low 30s. It's crazy to think that this is a win right now for the American people. On average, American families are going to lose about 1 month's salary, 1 month of wages due to inflation. And inflation is taxation. You do not see Joe Biden or his administration doing anything to resolve those issues at any rate in the last year and a half that I've seen.
Yeah, Brian Renberg, jump in here.
Congresswoman, it is interesting to see the White House celebrating lower gas prices. You might ask the question, well, why is that happening? What have you done to make that happen? The answer, of course, is they've done nothing. The reason that gas prices have come down is because oil prices have come down, and they've come down because everyone's worried about recession. Congresswoman, how worried are you about recession and the fact that this administration has not changed course on the spending and the regulation that it wants to impose on this economy?
Right. And I will add one thing. We do know it wasn't the fist bump in Saudi Arabia with the Crown Prince last week that lowered gas prices. And I'm sure that's what Joe Biden wants everyone to believe at this point. But the recession or impending recession is real. There are real fears. And I know that when I go to the grocery store with my kids, we're making different decisions today than we were a year ago. We are trying to drive less today than we were a year ago. It cost me a set of very nice, expensive basketball shoes for one of my kids every time I go and fill up the tank. And other Americans are having the same problems, and there are fears because wages simply are not keeping up with inflation.
Yeah, meanwhile, who is telling him to continue pushing this agenda through? The climate change agenda. He's got a whole government approach to this, the SEC coming out with its rules. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez obviously pushing this climate agenda. She's the one who said weeks ago that he can be doing more. And, of course, yesterday he said that he's going to do executive orders. She's denying, meanwhile, that she pretended to be handcuffed after her Tuesday protest. I mean, we could see it with our own eyes. What's going on here? There are no handcuffs, and yet she's got her hands behind the back as if she has them on. Congresswoman, she did respond to one of your tweets. I guess you and her went at it on Twitter, saying, no faking here. Putting your hands behind your back is a best practice while detained, handcuffed or not, to avoid escalating charges like resisting arrest, Congresswoman. That's what she's answering your tweet.
Yes, as we sometimes get into it on Twitter, because she doesn't tell the truth, and she's been dishonest about a number of things, and this just being another one of them. I called it performance art. It's more about performance and raising money and fist pumps in the air than it is about policy and doing and working for the people. And she fundraised off of this and lied about it. You could put your hands in front of you just like you could behind you to pretend that you were handcuffed with a fake arrest to try to escalate the situation and look tough with your fists in the air. It's sort of ridiculous. But there are people that are falling for these kinds of tricks. But it's not right. We're here to do a job, and we should be working for the American people. And when it comes to climate, I work on climate issues. They're important to me and those in my district, but that's not the #1 issue facing the American people right now. It's inflation, it's in jobs, it's the economy, it's taxes. Those are the bread and butter kitchen table issues that we need to be focusing on rather than these political stunts.
Yes, true, Congresswoman, absolutely true. Good to see you this morning. Thanks very much, Nancy Mace. We will talk soon, and we appreciate your time.